Hello, cats and kittens. What do I say? Yoshko. I'm back in the Crisis Corner on Manga Monday with my review or impressions on One Piece Chapter 1150. What's it entitled? Domi Reversing? Whatever. My hopes and dreams of seeing the return of Brain Point Scope have fallen precipitously. But I kind of saw that coming. Anyway, there's still hope. There's still hope. But right now, I don't really see how it will be of a whole lot of hope, how it would be of a whole lot of help in this particular situation. It's a short chapter where we see the greatest expression or example of Emu's power that we've seen up until this point. First of all, he, it, whatever, has a killer hockey blast. Yeah, hockey burst, jumps out, puts down giants, obviously puts down the kids. I'm shocked that some of the Straw Hats are still awake. I know Jinbei could take it. They've been exposed to, you know, Conqueror's hockey from Saint Saturn and people like that. So I guess they've built an immunity, I guess, even though they're not high level frontline fighters like Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy. But Nami is still awake. I don't know how. I'm assuming Usopp obviously is, but they've been exposed to high end hockey before, so maybe that makes a difference. But I'm pretty sure Dory and Bragi have been exposed. Well, they didn't pass out. So anyway, the point is, we see a concentrated blast of hockey that is very potent, and Gunko has transformed into this bat creature, and Emu has taken full possession of her. We find out that Summers is still alive, though badly damaged. She says his body is in agony. So from that, we can infer that I still believe that if Summers went 1-on-1 with Scopper, and Scopper had the time to deal with him, Scopper would, wipe him out. He would wipe him out. If he had a 1v1 and wasn't pressed for time to deal with anybody else, I think he would win. That's interesting because we're assuming that whatever this power is that Emo is apparently able to give to people, it gives them invincible bodies. So maybe Summers' attack potency and strength is the same as it was back in the day. So maybe his power hasn't fallen off, but we know Scopper and Riley have said that they're not as strong as they used to be. Even Garp, people of that generation have fallen off, although they're still crazy strong. All right. So that tells me that old Scopper would clean out Summers right now. I mean, Scopper in his current age state would clean him out. Prime Scopper would clean him out even worse. So old school Rogers Pirates were, at least the elite old school Rogers Pirates, were more than a match for the Holy Knights or the God Knights. That's my guess. Anyway, what worries me at this point is Emu's power is insanely broken. I mean, and it runs counter to an ability that Luffy has that was spoken of way back in Marineford. It's not an ability; it's more like a power or whatever you want to call it. Mihawk made the statement that Luffy had the ability to make friends or make allies out of anybody, essentially, because the cats that he rolled with to try to liberate Ace, they were former enemies, and he made friends out of them. Even along the way, he's made alliances with people who were formerly enemies or rivals, at least. And he made amicable terms with them to some extent, and some he even won over. Emu can just straight subjugate. because the ability she used to take over, basically possess, I guess, Dorian Broggy, she's talking about it as a diabolical contract. A contract is an agreement between two parties. Clearly, Dorian Broggy wanted nothing to do with Emu, and they were actively trying to subdue or kill her at that point. She makes this contract by blowing off one of their hands and entering them into a contract against their will, and they become minions and are powered up. If she can do this to anybody at any given time, homeboy or homegirl is so broken, I don't know how you beat that. I really don't. I mean, she can pull up on anybody and do that, I guess. So I'm interested to see the mechanics of how that power works. Can it be broken? What breaks it? That's why I'm still holding out hope. Well, forget about Brain. I'm obsessed with Chopper being useful and Brainpoint Scope coming back into play, but let's throw that out of the window. The situation at this point is just untenable. It's horrible. You know, Dorian Broggy are not down. They flip sides. A bunch of the other giants that flip sides and are now working for Emo and rampaging, and they're going to kill Gyro. And the kids are still hostages, and the library is burning, and just everything is going wrong. Luffy and his party have not returned yet, but I still believe that they're going to save Scopper because they're in the underworld and coming up. Um, Scopper is on his way down. Obviously, they'll meet him and save him. That said, once they get back up, even with Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, maybe even Loki if he's ready to fight after having eaten, I guess. That's not enough. That's not enough. So outside intervention, I believe, is going to have to come in the form of possibly Shanks, possibly. I've heard some people say the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. I don't see what difference they would make, to be honest with you, because they're all weaker than Luffy. So, I mean, warm bodies would help, but whatever. So you got Shanks is out there. You got maybe Garp is already on ice. Really? No, probably not. Somebody got to come up. There's somebody here that I'm not thinking about that could help. Not smoking. Somebody, but it's got to be somebody high end. Blackbeard might show up and be useful in a way, I guess, but nah, he's off doing something else. He's taking advantage. He might even be attacking Murgeois. So, or he might be on his way to Wano to go get the ancient weapon. So I'm thinking it's probably going to have to be Shanks. It would be a good time for him to roll in and help out. If not him, there's probably somebody obvious I'm just not thinking about. But it's a bad situation. It's a bad situation. I just want to know how Emu's powers work. And can he, she, it roll up on anybody and do this? Because this is subjugation. I mean, this is taking somebody against their will to do something against their will, and they seem cool with it. I mean, Dorian Bargy seemed delighted with their new power ups and their, you know, monster forms, and they going to work in the service of their master. Was that the case for all the Holy Knights? God Knights, or whatever you want to call them? Was that the case for all of the other Gorose? Were they, like cool dudes, and then they just got caught up in whatever it is the emu does, and they turned evil? That'd be weird. That'd be interesting. But in the end, we do know that Gunko is set up to be redeemable. The other guys that fought it, they're going to be killed, I guess. But Gunko is being set up to be redeemable, so she has to get broken out of that situation so that she can, go on and live her life. And somebody, of course, has to step in and teach the Straw Hats, or at least the Straw Hats that can make use of that information, how to use hockey to hurt anybody like the God Knights and or up into including the Gorosei and Evil. So somebody has to step in and teach somebody something. And the library has to be saved. That I think is going to happen. That information is not going to be lost. We're not going to get a second O'Hara. That's not happening. I don't think so. And I'm still interested to see what Robin. We keep going back to Robin trying to break free of those thorns. Long in the long game, I think she's going to learn. Because I mean, it's not a coincidence that the form that she came up with in Wano had wings and had that demon look to it. I'm not sure that's a coincidence, but it can't have anything to do with this. But she's going to get a power up, obviously. She's going to join the top ranks of the Straw Hats once she activates hockey. And again, when she gets armament, man, Robin is going to be a problem. She's going to skip over Jinbei. I'm sorry. Only thing Jinbei will have on her at that point is just experience. But she is going to be a problem once she gets her armament hockey straight. And you better hope. I know she's not going to get conquerors, because if she does, that's game over. She can start her own crew at that point anyway. Um, yeah, this is bleak. This is as bleak as it's gotten, but there's no breaks this week. And so we're going to get some resolution to some of these questions that are lingering in the air, and brain point scope is still on the table. Fleeting as a hope it is still on the table. So let me know what you think about how this contract situation works. I mean, it's broken, man. It's completely broken. Hopefully, the straw has to figure it out. Luffy's the MC of this book, so he's gonna figure something out. No break this week, so we're gonna get some spoilers and stuff pretty soon. Looking forward to it. Until next time, stay loose.